Bienvenue sur ma chaîne. Welcome to my channel, Iti Ilu. Today we are going back to a magazine that I have shown you before, but we are going to be reading a little more from it. This is a law student magazine from my uni called Verdict. This is an old issue. It's from 2019, issue 4, and it has my university's name there, University of Law. And I like the name Verdict because obviously it's law related, and it says the inside track for law students. It's got a very colourful front page. It says a legal world full of opportunity, and on the back that's what it looks like. It says live prospectus by students for students, because there's more to us than you can ever fit into a booklet. Don't just read about law, live it. Okay, and this one is a special one because it says Careers Special. And I love it because it's full of real people and real stories, and very motivational and inspiring for all law students. It says, dream big. Our alumni did, and they've made it to firms like Facebook. Go on to do great things with our range of undergraduate and postgraduate law courses and professional development courses for trainees, solicitors and qualified lawyers. And here's like the table of contents. You can see the times, and then there's like the subtitle that says the times. What say you, law survey? Then welcome from Professor Andrea Noland. Then corporate law, deal makers serving rainmakers. We'll go through that. Let's see the law survey. I want to see that. I want to actually read this part too. It's really interesting. It says, what type of lawyer do you want to be? And it says, this deceptively simple question is a favorite of training contract and pupillage interview panels. It requires plenty of careful thought, research and work experience if it is to be answered well. Because the law spans every area of society and the daily lives of lawyers practicing in different sectors can be vastly different. What, for example, does a criminal lawyer have in common with a corporate lawyer? Is there much crossover between your average media lawyer and their counterpart who specializes in family law? And how about those practicing in human rights, employment, competition law, sports law or personal injury, or even ploughing a furrow as a legal entrepreneur, staking up the profession? As it happens, some of these types of law are more similar than others, sometimes blurring into each other. Indeed, the distinction between practice areas is a spectrum. In the middle, there is lots of overlap, while at the extremes, stark differences show up. In this year's edition of Verdict, we have gone in depth to explore 10 core practice areas, interviewing a host of leading solicitors and barristers to hear about life in their particular area of law. And this is quoted by this lovely woman right here, and she is Professor Andrea Noland, Vice Chancellor and CEO of the University of Law. Okay. It's a very interesting and compelling statement she's made. This is corporate law deal makers serving the rainmakers. And all the photos like this in this magazine are by Connor James McKinney. Lovely pictures. Captures of London, probably other cities, but I think mostly London. So this is the corporate law article here. Everything is done in different colours. I like that, colour coded. Good for a lot of lawyer brains. We like things very organised, colour coded, numerised and alphabetised. Okay, so I'll read some stuff. After the art of the deal comes the mechanics. It's one thing for a business to decide to purchase a rival, or for a fund to settle on investment in a particular firm. How about I pretend to turn a page after reading a few things? Okay. Making it happen in the real world outside the boardroom is quite another. Someone has to check whether nasty surprises lurk in the books of the target company, draw up the contracts and make sure all the regulatory paperwork is in order, all to the timetable of executives who want everything to happen yesterday. The elite of corporate lawyers overseeing all the need, brains, stamina and serious organisational withal. In a sense, the job of the corporate team is to legally project and manage the entire transaction, gathering input from specialist colleagues where necessary. Corporate lawyers need to be red hot on company and contract law, but be prepared to call in the cavalry on the finer details of competition, tax, or intellectual property issues that might affect a deal. Jack of all trades you may be, but it's impossible to be master of all potential legal speed bumps in a multi-billion-dollar deal. Veteran corporate lawyer David Carter, that's him, puts it more eloquently. You have to be quite Socratic about things. The Ashurst partner says, you have to know when you don't know anything, when you are bluffing and therefore need to say something to get off the phone with the client and get on the phone with someone who knows the law better than you in that area. Think of Asda's proposed merger with Sainsbury's. I didn't know Asda merged with Sainsbury's. For those of you non-UK people, Asda is a giant grocery superstore, kind of like Walmart. It's actually owned. Is Asda owned? Asda's owned by Walmart. I don't think it's the other way around. And Sainsbury's is our UK, like one of the most, like I'd say one of the largest grocery chains in England, and very British, like British owned. I had no idea they merged with Asda. That's really interesting. Okay, or Uber Eats reportedly trying to gobble up Deliveroo. Both present a potential competition law problem, which requires a lawyer who does nothing but antitrust to consider how it might or might not get past the regulator. See, this is the stuff that really interests me and why I chose commercial for my master's. There might be an environmental issue, there might be a tax issue, there might be a pension issue, there might be a cross-border foreign law aspect to the transaction. You're not meant to know all the law, Carter assures verdict. In that sense, corporate lawyers act as a bridge between the client and a technical specialist without the bird's eye view of where the deal is at and what might be holding it up. There are also the men and women who try to find ways around legal barriers. It's no good simply telling executives that what they want to achieve is against the law. You have to start becoming solution-driven. Private equity specialist Carter says the client wants to get from A to B. Telling them that there is no path is not what we do. What we tend to do is say, look, if we walk down this road a little, we can get around to C and track back to B. It's a little bit more effort, but at least it gets you your commercial desire. Very insightful. All types of clients are challenging in their own ways, but corporate clients are alike in being a demanding bunch. Business school orthodoxy teaches executives to put pressure on the lawyers to make things happen quickly. With the result that mountains of paperwork have to be processed in often unreasonably short spaces of time. Part of the prestige that attaches to corporate work is due to its often around-the-clock nature. Trainees often bear the brunt of this, and sometimes their work can be a trifle dull. Due diligence is notorious. Reading through masses of material to establish what debts a company has or whether it is compliant with the regulations in its market. On the other hand, the learning curve is steep. Newbies gradually work their way up from checking papers for circulation and drafting ancillary sale documents to preparing the real meat of the deal, like the documents for transfer of shares or the board minutes authorizing the whole transaction. You keep looking and learning and drafting bit by bit, Carter says, often late into the night when the pressure of business demands it. Compensation for this sort of commitment, of course, is staggering. When the transaction is equivalent to the GDP of a Caribbean island nation, nobody begrudges the lawyers a few million. But when you spend so much time on the job, the money becomes less important than a genuine love of the game. EULAW's own Sarah Pooley points out that the salary is the wrong motivation for working for a Magic Circle firm. What you should really think about is whether you are interested in the work. Carter's enthusiasm for his own work is Ashurst is undimmed. 17 years later, making partner at the venerable firm, if cheery turns of phrase like photographing the delicious opera of a transaction are anything to go by. That may be because the firm has a slightly less ferocious reputation than the Magic Circle outfit so far as work-life balance goes. There's also a buzz around the firm's forthcoming move into a fancy new Spitalfields office in 2019, as well as speaking of Spitalfields, I used to live right around there, close to Brick Lane. I used to live right around the corner from Brick Lane. The closest tube station was Finsbury Park, so right in the Spitalfields area. That is also where All Saints, the designer label, was born. That's the first flagship shop that's located there. Anyway, little bit of Spitalfields. As well as new physical premises, Ashurst has more intangible improvements in its sites. Chatter about the role of artificial intelligence in day-to-day legal practice is more than just talk. Carter notes that every law firm worth its salt has invested in some form of AI program to help deal with due diligence and business investigation. The old grunt work of trawling through documents that junior people used to do will, in the foreseeable future, start coming to an end. Jamati, a consultancy run by former Clifford Chance managing partner Tony Williams, predicted in a recent report that AI-assisted contract review tools will be widely taken up in a matter of years, if not months. Thankfully, that doesn't make lawyers obsolete. Corporate clients will always need quick answers, challenging questions, and commercially sound advice. So that is the commercial, or that is the corporate law section. We will read one section every night until the end of the magazine. I think that's a good idea. So now, as we go through the rest of the magazine, we have a different area of law to cover every single night, and we eventually will get through all of it. So for now, all my lovely viewers and subscribers and new subscribers, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you sleep well tonight. Goodbye, salut, bonne nuit, good night.